All this guy wanted to do was take the elevator downstairs. But a rich girl took one look at him and turned her nose up. Just because his outfit made him look like a construction worker. "Hey, I'm Liu Jun. I just moved in." She forced out the thinnest smile, then instinctively pulled her arms in close. She was clearly uncomfortable. Liu Jun had no idea what that was about, until he got to the parking lot, and saw a group of construction workers walk past. That's when it clicked. She had looked down on him. What she didn't know was, Liu Jun actually came from money, a full-on second-generation rich kid. On top of that, he'd just come back from getting his PhD in Germany. But the reason he came home wasn't to live it up. His dad had suddenly fallen into a coma and been hospitalized, and the family's machine manufacturing plant was on the verge of going under. As a senior engineer who'd spent years in Germany, he was used to the clean, well-organized, and technically advanced workshops over there. But the moment he stepped into his family's factory, he was completely floored. The shop floor was a total mess. Metal shavings piled up on the ground with no one cleaning them. Management was a disaster and the tech was way behind. It was night and day compared to the standardized workshops he'd seen in Germany. After talking with Uncle Shu at the factory, Liu Jun finally got to the root of the crisis. Turns out 3 months ago, his dad, chasing a big payday, had signed a contract way beyond the factory's technical capabilities. The products they churned out didn't pass quality control, and the shock of it all had sent his dad into a stroke. To make things worse, they had less than a month before the delivery deadline. If they breached the contract, they'd owe a massive penalty. Uncle Shu laid out the technical problems as if they were unsolvable. But Liu Jun took the blueprints and looked them over carefully, and what the veteran workers back home had been stumped by for ages looked like basic stuff to him. He went ahead and redesigned the molds. When Uncle Shu saw the finished product, his jaw dropped. "Young master, it's only been 1 day. How on earth did you pull this off?" "I reworked the molds, made some design changes, and had a colleague overseas run the simulations. Everything checked out against the client's specs." But after putting out the fire, Liu Jun didn't sit back and celebrate. He went quiet and started thinking. A pretty basic technical problem, something that had established processes and standards abroad, had left veteran workers who'd been doing this for decades completely stuck. That gap in technical know-how made him suddenly understand why he'd come back. Not to save his family's factory, but to use what he knew to change the state of China's manufacturing industry. Around the same time, the hospital called to say his dad had woken up. That gave Liu Jun an even bigger boost. A month later, his dad was discharged, and without hesitation, handed the factory over to Liu Jun. Not just because Liu Jun had pulled them out of debt and turned the factory profitable, but because his dad saw the responsibility and ability in his son. With the crisis behind him, Liu Jun hit up his buddy Qian Hongming to talk about his big plans. Qian Hongming was proud of him, and jokingly pulled out a 100 yuan bill, daring this rich kid to play them a song. Nobody expected that Liu Jun, a STEM PhD, would drop one performance and blow everybody away. And that one song led him straight to a very special audience member. After stepping off the stage, Liu Jun got a drink sent over by a beautiful woman. Qian Hongming spotted the business card, and immediately recognized her as Lin Chuan, the sister of a local business tycoon. Wanting to make a connection, he pushed Liu Jun to go over and introduce himself. When Liu Jun got close enough to see her face, he realized it was the same girl from the elevator. "Hey there, neighbor." "Oh, hi, Miss Lin. I'm Liu Jun. You already introduced yourself." "Lately, the construction workers in the building have been drinking and fighting. I go out of my way to avoid them whenever I see them." "So, Manager Qian, your friend here is pretty impressive. Does he have a girlfriend?" "He just got back from Germany." The moment Lin Chuan found out Liu Jun was a senior engineer back from Germany, her attitude did a complete 180. But it wasn't about money. She wasn't being shallow. It was genuine respect for real expertise. Lin took that opening and asked Lin Chuan to take him on a tour of her brother Lin Yue's factory, just to learn and pick up experience and lay the groundwork for upgrading his own factory. "You're a top-tier talent. If there's any technical questions, everyone can talk it through and learn from each other." "Not at all, thank you." When Lin Yue heard his sister was bringing a PhD returnee for a tour, he deliberately arranged for the factory's most senior and most cantankerous chief engineer, Old Wang, to host Liu Jun. On the surface, it was a tour, but it was really a test of Liu Jun's actual skill. Lin Chuan thought it was overkill, though. You could have just had any technician show him around. Why send Chief Engineer Wang? You think he's gonna be happy doing that? Can't help it. These days, people faking credentials after a stint abroad is just too easy. I need someone like Old Wang to go line by line with him. Good talent is hard to find. Let Big Brother do his due diligence, huh? But what nobody expected was what started out as what looked like a deliberate hazing ended up as two tech nerds finding a kindred spirit in each other. Chief Engineer Wang had gone in trying to catch Liu Jun out, but Liu Jun's expertise blew way past his expectations. The two of them went from talking technical problems to the state of the industry, and just kept going. They hit it off completely despite the age gap. Meanwhile, Lin Chuan was left standing there like a third wheel. "Oh, it's fine, Lin Chuan, you don't need to follow along. I'm good on my own." No, I'll tag along." "Really, it's fine. Go handle your stuff. I'll head in." Turns out, in the world of engineering, status doesn't matter. It's all about sharing the same passion. The most striking moment was when the two of them walked into the long-dormant CNC workshop. Inside sat top-of-the-line machine tools, but no one could operate them. That's when Chief Engineer Wang told him the truth. Turns out, this CNC workshop had been built under Japanese supervision. The core technology had always been in Japanese hands. Once the Japanese engineers left, nobody at the plant could figure out how to run the equipment. To restart it, they'd have to shell out big money to bring Japanese engineers back. That hit right at the sore spot of China's manufacturing industry at the time. Fall behind in tech and someone else will always be pulling your strings. You're stuck depending on foreign technology and paying through the nose for it. Looking at all that expensive idle equipment, Liu Jun felt a mix of emotions and quietly made himself a promise. He was going to break that stranglehold with his own 2 hands. He was going to change the helpless position China's manufacturing industry was in. That was his real mission. That's the heart of this whole story. When Lin Yue saw Chief Engineer Wang's approval of Liu Jun, he got interested. He started planning a dinner to bring this capable young man on board as a partner. But what nobody expected was, after Liu Jun had gotten a full read on Lin Yue's operation, he turned and walked away. "Miss Lin, I have a close friend whose mother just passed away a couple days ago. I promised to go see her today. Can we reschedule? I'll treat Mr. Lin to dinner another time." Of course, no problem. That completely caught Lin Yue off guard. He couldn't help but mutter, "Kid's young." But he's got a lot of nerve. As a major local businessman, Lin Yue was used to people coming to him looking for deals and connections. He was the one extending an olive branch, even offering to host a dinner himself. That was already him swallowing his pride, showing some real good faith. And Liu Jun, a young guy just starting out, technically skilled, sure, but nowhere near Lin Yue's level in terms of business standing or resources. It made Lin Yue feel like his effort had been brushed off. Not long after, Liu Jun called Lin Chuan and said he wanted to pay to use their testing workshop to run some experiments and solve a problem at his dad's factory. But Liu Jun had no idea that Lin Yue had arranged for a woman to secretly watch him and steal the technology. So what happens next? We'll get into that next time.